Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to Your Retirement with Insurance 365. We have Angela with us here as you look at your radio on your right. Hi, Angela.
Hello, Jeffrey.
Angela Cradaville and Jay Kenobi. Jay, the proprietor of Insurance 365. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing better than I deserve, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I know. I always say that as well. You can find them online, Insurance Agency 365. You got to throw agency in there, insuranceragency365.com. You can find them at 711 South 13th. I understand it's a lot easier to see their building at night now, right, Jay?
Absolutely.
It's got a great, big, beautiful sign on the north side of the building, so if you miss it, boy, oh boy, you're not paying attention. And the phone number, 402-371-3136. And on the website, there's some wonderful videos on insuranceragency365.com.
Yeah, there is. We made videos for each product. In today's product, long-term care, there's a specific video and along with some reading content. So very helpful. We just launched the new website, and so we're excited about that, and hopefully that helps out the consumers. Now,
the first 2 or 3 months, obviously we've been focusing a lot about on Medicare and Medicare Part D, and both of those deadlines, Angela, are now passed. December 7th on the Part D.
On the Part D, correct.
And then December 15th on the
individual health insurance.
Individual health insurance. And she's been drinking since, right? Haven't you?
Maybe.
I was getting worried she was going to start aging like Scott Frost.
Yeah, I think Scott's aged about 40 years in the last 4, hasn't he? Oh, man. Okay, well, let's dive into long-term care now. So let's focus on this. So, Jay, let's start with what is long-term care? It's a pretty broad term, isn't it?
It is. It's most people go back to the roots of nursing home insurance is what they called it. And years ago, contracts were just nursing home contracts. And I still see a lot of those out there. But today, the industry calls it long-term care. It's more comprehensive. It's nursing home, assisted living, home health care, things like respite care, adult day care, home modifications. There's so much goes into it today. The industry, the insurance industry, has responded well to what the consumers needed and wanted in our lifestyle today.
So if you had, this is probably a good reason to really get your policy looked at if you bought it, say, maybe 10, 15 years ago, and check to see what that contract actually says.
Yeah, we see a lot of those where people bring them in and say, hey, I bought this, back in 1987 or 95 or even 2000. And we have to make sure, okay, let's go over and see what this covers. Because today having just a nursing home policy doesn't really cover your risks. There's just so many things that you accept going into before the nursing home. I mean, people are more willing to have home health care, Jeffrey, than they are a nursing home.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Angela, you want to take that a little bit about some of the other things that really have become very prevalent, probably just in the last, 5 to 10 years, some options that people have instead of going right into the nursing home.
Sure. A lot of people have home health care workers come in if it's 2 days a week, 3 days a week for a couple hours. But when I work with my clients, that's what a lot of their wishes are. They don't want to go to the nursing home. They want to stay at home as long as possible.
Jay, also you're finding out that people are coming to you and trying to figure out why they're maybe paying $8,000 to $10,000 a year on long-term care insurance.
Yeah. What happens so many times, Jeffrey, is the average age of purchase is about 58 to 62. So say today you're 75, 80 years old, and maybe the person you bought it from isn't even in the business anymore. He or she retired or didn't make it in the business. Mm-hmm. So, but you have a good policy. There's nothing wrong with the policy, but you don't know where to turn. We've really helped a lot of people with that, because what happens is they build a policy, we'll call it the base policy, and then, Jeffrey, you can add on a bunch of features. And one of the most common feature to add is inflation. So you bought inflation because maybe you were 60 years old when you bought this policy. Well, now you're 80. At 80 years old, they're charging you for that inflation benefit. So your benefit, the value to you, continues to go up by 3 to 5% per year. And when you're 80 years old, actuarially speaking, they're charging you a lot for that inflation.
Yeah.
Because, they know they're going to pay.
And you're 80 years old and you don't need to anymore.
And at 80 years old, do you really need inflation on your long-term care plan? Mm-hmm. So I've helped a lot of people. Just let's look at your contract. Let's see if there's features and benefits that don't make sense, that completely made sense when you were 60.
Yeah.
The guy sold you a good policy. And it's been a good policy, but you haven't used it. And now you're saying, man, I get this notice, and I called my daughter who lives in Kansas City, and I told her it went up again, 45%, or my wife is frustrated because it went up 50% this year. You start reaching out to your family. Reach out to someone like us, and we'll say, look, we handle this every day.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at it for you. I'm not going to cancel it. I mean, that'd be foolish. You've paid all the years into it, and it's a good contract. But there's things to modify to reduce the premium. I've seen it up to 70% where we reduce the premium by just looking at those extra benefits that may not be needed today.
Give us an example or two of what one of those benefits might be. I think we already touched on one.
Well, inflation is the biggest one. Elimination period is another. Elimination period means your deductible. And the other one, lifetime. Angela, we've seen a lot of lifetime benefits.
Yeah. A lot of people have the lifetime benefit where you more than likely don't need a lifetime benefit. The average claim is 2 years.
There's a 71% chance that you're going to need it?
71% chance if you are turning 65 right now that you will need long-term care services. And again, these services today are so extensive. Adult daycare, home modifications, respite care, nursing home, assisted living, home health. So you have a 71% chance. So, when I look at spouses, I always just say, so which one of you is not going to do this? And because that's even low, because that's 50-50. This is 71. A lot of spouses will have them both use it. Now, you have to explain that to people. Look, the reality is 71%. And that kind of puts some substance in the conversation. Like, okay, Jay, let's have the conversation. You've convinced me. 71% chance. That scares me. The part that nobody wants to tell you is the average claim. So the average time when you would pay out of your pocket is less than 2 years. So many of these people, as Angela just said, have a lifetime benefit. Well, you know what that company is charging you, Jeffrey? Lifetime means when you go on claim, they're paying the rest of your entire life. That's a really good policy, really good. But I don't see a lot of Teslas driving around Norfolk. So people have bought, I think, because out of fear. They talk about the aunt who had Alzheimer's, or your dad, Alzheimer's runs in your family. So people buy these lifetime plans when the average person is less than 2 years. That's serious to talk about. But again, the people selling it to you, do they want to talk about that? No, because what does that do, Jeffrey? It does what to your premiums?
Yeah, right. Brings them down.
Which drives our commission
down.
Which drives our sale
down. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's one of those things as a consumer, you just have to say, okay, tell me the facts. Where can I go and trust somebody who's not trying to get me a sale? I want someone to educate me on what my risk is. My risk is about 20 to 24 months.
Yeah.
Average claim today is about $8,000 a month. So, Jeffrey, in your case, you and your wife, you have $160,000 to $200,000 risk out there, and a 71% chance of that happening. Do you want to talk to an insurance agent about that? Yes.
Yeah.
But do you want to spend $8,000 to $10,000 a year to cover something for $160,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of goes. You kind of say, I don't know if I want to do that. So what we really try to do is let's personalize the plan and let's make it affordable. Biggest problem I have with long-term care is I bring it up to people and they say, well, I talked to someone. It's too expensive. Well, you talk to a guy from Omaha spending a week in a Super 8 here in town.
Yeah, and then immediately dismiss it. But like you say, there's a 71% chance of you needing this for sure. And it is understanding your risk, and that's really what it comes down to. Talk about this. So at what age, Jay, let's say we have somebody 45, 50 years old listening to this morning. At what age is a good time to sit down and start talking about this?
Actually, I'll take that one.
Sure.
50 years old would be a good age to start for sure talking about it.
So is it going to be more reasonable the sooner you start? And I would assume premiums, if I wait till I'm 70.
Correct. You got that right.
Jay's not going to give you the same rate that he could have gave me when I was 50, right?
No.
It works very similar to life insurance. The discussion to have, at 50 years old to have the discussion. And here's a big thing that I think the reason I like to talk to people early, the funding that you can use, Jeffrey, is very flexible today. There's IRS tax deductible guidelines for individual people to purchase this.
Okay.
They get higher as you get older, but they give you a tax deductible starting at age 40.
Wow. For
So do
long-term
they?
health.
Yeah. Do they do that on your life insurance? No. Do they do that on your disability? No.
Wow.
The government wants you to buy this product. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get the tax break anything beyond 40. Also, if you own a business, now think about all these people listening that own some type of business. You can fund it through your business. You also today, the reason to look at it early on is you personally have more money coming in your 50s and 60s
Yeah.
than you do in your 70s. And you can design, we help you design. Some people do a one-time payment. One time. They say, hey, I lost my father up in Hardington, and he fortunately left me his 401k, and my mom left some CDs.
Yeah.
Jay, can I write a check for $70,000 and not deal with this ever again?
Wow.
And I want insurance the rest of my life on long-term care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people say, I own a business, or I'm working at Nucor and I've got 10 years left at Nucor. Can I make payments for 10 years, and then when I quit my job or I sell my business, can I never deal with another premium? That's really popular.
Right.
And so you really want to catch people their last 10 years before they retire.
Yeah.
And we have a 20-year plan. So you can pay 10, 20. You can pay lifetime is the cheapest, obviously, because that means until you have a claim.
Sure.
But that's kind of the traditional thinking.
Yeah.
I like to talk to people in their 50s and early 60s and say, when's your income going to stop? Mm-hmm. And they know.
Yeah.
And we want to get this wrapped up and done. I mean, if I said to you, could you pay your car insurance, Jeffrey, for the next 10 years and be done the rest of your life?
Oh,
You and
that'd
your
be
wife
awesome.
your wife drive around in your artificial intelligence car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be great, though?
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's what we do on long-term care.
So there you go. You need to talk to these folks here. We're talking about long-term care here. It's Your Retirement with Insurance 365. Jay Kenobi with us, Angela Cradaville as well. You can find them online, insuranceagency365.com. Take a break, and we'll be back with more. And we are back with Your Retirement with Insurance 365. Jay Kenobi with me, and Angela Cradaville back. We do this the third Saturday of every month at 7:35 here on News Talk WJAG. Now that we're past the Medicare and the Part D and all of that, we're focusing in on long-term care. And so in this segment here, Angela, we're going to talk a little bit about getting long-term care, but everybody's health is not the same. And let's face it, we have a lot of people who are overweight. They've got issues, and they probably just cringe at the idea of going to try to apply for long-term care.
Right. So when we sit down with somebody and they tell us their fears of the underwriting, basically we find out all their medications, any health history, and we kind of know what policies would be easier acceptance for them. Mm-hmm. So meaning easier to go through underwriting. But we always want to make sure we know what is going on with our clients, so we don't just send them through underwriting. We want to pre-screen them to find out what's all going on.
To give them the best opportunity.
Absolutely.
Typical problems are maybe diabetes, overweight, things like that.
Blood pressure.
Cognitive impairments, they look for a lot of those. That's the biggie today, is cognitive breakdowns. So when they underwrite you, cognitive impairment is really a major health concern in the country. We really can't stress enough. I've had people say, well, Jay, I didn't get it 5 years ago because of my knee or because of my hips or because of this or that, or I don't even know why I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. And they give up. The problem is the agent you are working with just may not have had all the alternative companies and may not have known that there's different products to help along with that risk. I've had ALS people come in. Can you do anything? Yes, there are. If you have a condition, there are things we can do. And literally that has happened. When you do this every day, like Angela and I do this, it's going to be a different level than what the guy is that's maybe selling a lot of everything or maybe in this part-time. So
right.
Health is a big thing, but don't let it scare you. Don't use it as an excuse. Well, I'm not getting long-term care. I'm not going to look at it because I'm shorter and wider than I should be.
Yeah.
Or I had hip surgery or knee surgery.
I just don't want to afford it.
I just don't want to. Yeah. Take the time to get educated, and then you make the decision when you're ready. I'm not going to ever put a pen in front of you and a paper and say, let's go ahead with this. No, it's not our style. But our style is to educate you and let you know your options.
Yeah, and make sure that you do have the best option in front of you. And we talk about that a lot here on this program, you guys, about how you have multiple choices in front of you, right, Angela? You guys go shopping for me. You're kind of a broker, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have lots of contracts with different companies because we want to find the best fit for you.
Let's walk through underwriting a little bit here. Let's go talk about long-term care for me and my wife. Let's talk about both of us here because there's maybe even advantage there to both of us getting it at the same time. So let's start with underwriting.
Well, we have sheets in our office that we basically a pre-screening long-term care sheet. So it has all questions that we need to ask everybody: medications, blood pressure, when the last time you've had any surgeries, do you have any pending surgeries? So that's our step one, to basically help us learn more about you and what's going on. And it also has questions on there like, what are you comfortable spending? Because we're not going to show you a plan that's way out of your price range. We want to make sure. Yeah, absolutely. It's a waste of time for us, a waste of time for you. We want to make sure we're finding the right fit.
So now, speaking of maximizing it, if husband and wife go at the same time, you might be able to maximize your savings here.
Yeah, absolutely. Some companies, or most companies, I should say, give you like a 30% discount if both husband and wife apply. So a lot of times if the wife wants a heavier plan, when I say heavier, meaning a better plan, you don't have to write the same plan in order to get the household discount.
Okay.
So a husband...
Most men don't like this subject. They don't. Most men will say, Jay, if she gets that discount of 30% and I just take the minimum, is that okay? Yes, that is okay.
Mm-hmm. You want to... Women live longer, and when they go into long-term care, actuarial science will tell you that they will be in long-term care longer than men, so their plans probably are going to be a little steeper.
Yeah, and what I have found, this is just my personal opinion, I'll say it on the air, but in talking to people, it just... to me is kind of a reality. I'm not saying this is 100% true, but I see a lot of men that believe their wife will take care of them. And I see a lot of women that say, Jay, he's not going to. It's just not his nature. He's a provider. He's worked hard his whole life, but he's not a protector. And I'm a protector. The wife will say, I'm a protector. I'll protect him, and I'll bathe him. Right. And I'll feed him, and I'll medicate him. And I'll do this. And the guy kind of looks at me like, I don't know that I'm capable of doing that.
Right.
And that's, I'm not knocking either gender. It's just the reality. And women do use this product more than men. That's a fact. Now, that's reality. So you see women want a longer, better, bigger plan than men. Men are like, well, I'm going to stay here. And when she stops taking care of me, I might just die.
True.
I don't hear that. I don't hear that a lot from women.
But you also said the industry was kind of trying to push that aside because trying to keep things all things equal, and they're just not. Men and women are not the same. No matter how many times the government tries to tell you that, they're just not.
Yeah. They finally started identifying more charge on women for this product than men.
Yeah.
And that's frankly the way it should be.
Sometimes you can get that discount for your wife just by signing up for something and maybe not the equal product,
exactly,
which you don't necessarily need.
Yep.
So, again, it's just a subject that a lot of people don't like to talk about because nobody likes to talk about their mortality, do they?
No. I tell you what, the one service we're doing now, Jeffrey, that I want people to really consider using, and we use this a lot. You call my office and you have a conversation with me and you say, you know what, Jay, I'd like to spend $1,000 a year on long-term care for my spouse and I. We're 70 years old. I hear I don't have a lot of assets, or I do have a lot of assets. We have a video now where I'll put together a video for you and just send it to your email at your house. And I'll say, for $1,000, this is the best product I can offer you. So this is maybe a year and a half worth of coverage for Mary and a year and a half coverage worth for Tom. And it's going to pay out $100 a day, and you're going to have a 90-day deductible. And this is what you get for $1,000. And you don't have to meet with me. You don't have to come into my office. It's a service that's taken off with all of our products within our office. So if you just want some information and you want to start some communication and you want to start some education for you without having to sit down with a salesperson, I get it. Yeah. I totally understand that. I wish it wasn't that way. We try not to be that way, but I get it is that way.
Yeah.
So call the office and just say, here's what I have. Here's my email address. Start sending me some information. Start
Yeah.
sending me things that I can just sit at when I'm ready with Tom to sit down and we can look at that 3 to 4 minute video. Mm-hmm. That'll help build trust. It'll build education.
Right.
And we started this service. Actually, we started it right when COVID started. We got lucky. Before COVID started, we started making this a service. And then COVID hit the same year, so we got very fortunate. But this has taken off with all of our products really working well to do that. And it gives them the comfort of analyzing in their own home.
Yeah, and then you might take a look at that and go, okay, well, maybe we'd like to up that a little bit. Maybe we would like to spend a little bit more, get something a little bit more than, because $100 a day, that probably is not going to cover everything for you when you go into a nursing home.
It's not, and I don't think I've ever worked with anyone. I've never served one account where it covers 100% the objective.
Yeah.
People realize, you can't cover everything.
Yeah.
You want some subsidy to cover this expense. Mm-hmm. Another thing I just wanted to touch on, Jeffrey, that really worked well for mature clients. Like this week, I had a guy come in and say, I've got a cash value life insurance policy. And he said, you know what, we don't need this anymore. And I said, well, how much is in it? He said, over $100,000. I said, oh, you have over $100,000 of cash in this policy. And he goes, there's no need for us to have life insurance. Our kids don't need it. I don't really want this. I said, do you have long-term care? And he goes, no, and we're worried about it. And he goes, I don't think we can get it. Actually, you can take that $120,000, tax-free, roll it into a long-term care product, and now him and her will have no payment because they've already made their payment.
Yep, there's your premium right there.
You give over $100,000 to a policy, you can get a lot of long-term care for him and her, and that was their concern because they had a nice nest egg built up, but they weren't concerned with life insurance anymore. So don't think you have a bad life insurance product or this life insurance product is useless. It actually might completely fund you and your spouse's long-term care. So that's another avenue to just call on and just, hey, should we have a discussion?
Yeah, and take a look at all of your resources. Long-term care. It's time to take those first steps. So give these two a call. Ms. Cradaville here, Mr. Kenobi, 402-371-3136. Insurance Agency 365, and they're at 711 South 13th. Angela, thank you very much.
Yep, thanks, Jeffrey.
Jay, thank you very much. We will be back to you again in January on the third Saturday of the month here at 7:35 on News Talk WJAG.